Martin Luther King Jr.'s inspiring journey. Martin Luther King Jr. was born on January 15, 1929, in Atlanta, Georgia, into a deeply religious family. His father, Martin Luther King Sr., was a Baptist minister, and his mother, Alberta Williams King, was a schoolteacher. Growing up in the segregated South, King experienced firsthand the brutal realities of racism, from Jim Crow laws that enforced racial segregation to personal experiences of discrimination. Despite these challenges, King was raised in an environment that emphasized education, faith, and a commitment to justice. From an early age, King demonstrated a passion for learning. He attended Morehouse College at the age of 15, where he was mentored by Dr. Benjamin Mays, a prominent advocate for civil rights. This experience profoundly shaped King's worldview and his commitment to social justice. After graduating, he went on to earn a Bachelor of Divinity degree from Crozer Theological Seminary and later a Ph.D. in Systematic Theology from Boston University. It was during his time in Boston that King met Coretta Scott, who would later become his wife and a key partner in his civil rights work. In 1954, King accepted a position as pastor of the Dexter Avenue Baptist Church in Montgomery, Alabama. This was a pivotal moment in his life, as it placed him at the center of one of the most racially segregated cities in the South. Just a year later, in 1955, a 42-year-old African-American woman named Rosa Parks was arrested for refusing to give up her seat on a segregated bus. This event sparked the Montgomery Bus Boycott, a protest against the city's policy of racial segregation on public buses. King was chosen to lead the boycott, which lasted 381 days. Despite threats, violence, and even a bombing at his home, King remained committed to nonviolence, a principle he had adopted from the teachings of Mahatma Gandhi. Under King's leadership, the boycott was successful, leading to a Supreme Court ruling that declared bus segregation unconstitutional. This victory brought King national recognition and solidified his position as a leader of the civil rights movement. King's belief in nonviolent protest was at the core of his philosophy. He believed that love and peaceful resistance were more powerful than hate and violence, even in the face of extreme oppression. This principle guided him throughout his work as he led numerous marches, sit-ins, and demonstrations to fight against racial injustice, including the famous sit-in protests at segregated lunch counters and the Freedom Rides, which challenged segregation in interstate transportation. In 1963, King played a crucial role in organizing the Birmingham Campaign, a series of nonviolent protests against segregation in Birmingham, Alabama. The campaign drew national attention as peaceful demonstrators, including children, were met with violent resistance from the police, who used fire hoses and police dogs to suppress the protests. The brutal images of this confrontation shocked the nation and led to increased support for the civil rights movement. The March on Washington and King's speech became pivotal moments in the civil rights movement. His words resonated deeply with people across the country, and his vision for a just and equal society inspired a new generation of activists. The following year, in 1964, King became the youngest person to receive the Nobel Peace Prize, a testament to his commitment to achieving justice through peaceful means. Despite his many successes, King faced constant opposition and danger throughout his life. His activism made him a target of harassment by the FBI, which sought to discredit him and undermine his work. He also faced criticism from some activists within the movement who believed that nonviolence was too slow a path to achieving justice. Nevertheless, King continued to advocate for civil rights, expanding his focus to include issues of poverty and economic inequality. He recognized that racial justice could not be achieved without addressing the economic disparities that plagued African American communities. In 1967, King launched the Poor People's Campaign, a movement aimed at securing economic justice for people of all races. King also became an outspoken critic of the Vietnam War, which he viewed as an unjust conflict that disproportionately affected the poor and people of color. His stance on the war made him even more controversial, but he remained steadfast in his belief that peace and justice were interconnected. Tragically, Martin Luther King Jr.'s life was cut short on April 4, 1968, when he was assassinated in Memphis, Tennessee, while supporting a strike by African American sanitation workers. His death sent shockwaves across the country and around the world, but his legacy continues to inspire movements for justice and equality to this day. King's contributions to the civil rights movement were monumental. He was instrumental in the passage of key legislation, including the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965, both of which helped dismantle legal segregation and ensure voting rights for African Americans. To dive deeper into Martin Luther King Jr.'s incredible journey and learn more about other inspiring figures, don't forget to like, share, and comment on the Legendary Lives channel.